I got to ask about your musical journey because there's always something that probably goes way back, right, to get you to where you are today. Tell us about it.
Absolutely. So yeah, you're absolutely right. My journey started even before I was born. You know, I come from a family of musicians and singers. My dad, rest in heaven, he just passed away. So this is my first Father's Day without him. So, you know, that's why I was telling brother earlier, it's bittersweet. But the legacy that he left, you know, when he passed away, it was I felt a mantle that was just impressed upon me. And so, you know, I just been continuing on the journey with just singing in the community. Definitely grew up in church. You know, I have a church background, of course, and church future. You know, that's just, you know, that's been my life. Growing up in church, singing in the Sunshine Band, Tacoma, Washington, born and raised, all-time Memorial Church of God in Christ. And the Lord just, you know, he just guided me all through the world. You know, all through the world, I was able to travel. I just actually moved back to Washington back in 2016, 17. Yeah, I had gone through the journey of being a riffraff when I was growing up. Yeah, I was a whole something. I was a whole something growing up. And so, but when I moved away, I really encountered the presence of the Most High, you know, as far as me leaving the worldly life and the worldly thoughts and the worldly beliefs and all of that. And I literally actually had an encounter with him. I was able to move to Houston, Texas. And when I went to Houston, Texas, I saw a church on a whole nother level. It was on a whole nother level that Washington just hadn't tapped into yet, or that the church I was going to hadn't tapped into yet. So my eyes just got big. It got bigger when it came to music. And so so I went to Texas. I was in Texas for a while, and I was the state minister of music out there in Texas. And then after Texas, I moved to Baltimore, and I was able to rub elbows with some of the gospel greats out there, like Marette Brown Clark and Stephen Hurd. Like, they're really good friends of mine. And then that's when I looked at myself in the mirror one day. And I looked at myself, I said, I don't recognize this dude. Like, because all through life, you know, I had been in church, but the church wasn't in me, if that makes sense, right? Singing, rehearsing, all that kind of stuff, but not truly understanding what it meant to be in relationship with the one that was keeping me, which was the Most High. And so when I looked at myself one day in the mirror, I was like, I don't recognize this dude. Like, who are you? Have you ever just looked at yourself in the mirror and, you know, you look at the things, but you haven't just like looked at yourself and just honed in on your countenance, right? And so I saw my countenance for the first time, and I was like, oh, that's ugly. Like, who are you, dude? And so but then I went on this journey, and I can say, growing up in church all of my life, I can honestly say I really didn't believe in God until I met him.
Wow.
You know, the church always tells you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart. I was able to confess, but the believing in my heart part didn't come until later, right? Literally, though, I stopped going to church. So I stopped going to church not because I didn't believe in God, but because I didn't want the God that they were serving. The God that they were talking about wasn't the God that was strong enough to keep them. And I wanted the God that was strong enough to keep me in my dark times, or in the times I wanted to commit suicide, or the times when I wanted to overly drink or smoke this. You know, I'm keeping it 100. Yes. So there was a missionary I was growing up at All-Time Memorial. There's this missionary Stalworth. And she had this nice gray patch in her hair. I was like 8 or 9 when she said these very words that still ring in my head today. She said, do the know-how until the want-to comes. Ooh. And I for the longest, I didn't know what that meant until I got to that place of being like, okay, Lord, I don't know who you are yet, but I have something in me that says, okay, just do the know-how until the want-to comes. So what I did was, and you know, I had this apartment, I gutted out my closet, I laid down this white cover and this white pillow, and I had blessed oil and I had water. And I prayed for the blessed oil and I prayed for the water, and I said, Lord, wherever this water goes in my body, that's where I want you to fill me up. Still not even knowing, you know, I'm just walking by faith at this time, right? So then when I do that, man, I'm praying and I'm looking for God. I'm closing my eyes. I'm looking for God in the dark. I'm like, is that you? Like, where are you? I'm looking at him in the lights. Like, where are you? Where are you? Not knowing the whole time that he was in me, So that's been my journey. My journey with music is definitely, it's heartfelt and it's definitely real. So every song that God allows me to write is definitely coming from a real place. It's coming from a place of whether it's hurt, whether it's victory, whether it's an awakening, you know, whether it was a dark time or whatever. Most High has allowed me to be able to write songs that depict all of that. And
ultimately, that journey is what led you to where you are today. I mean, so you really went through some experiences that got you to then say, let me hone in on the music that has been an anchor, obviously, in your world. Tell us about that transition when you realized, like, you know what, music is where I'm going to pour my brilliance into. Give us more of that.
Sure. It's definitely been the thing, like you said, that's been keeping me rooted and grounded and anchored, keeping me sane. You know, oftentimes we listen to music that, you know, that'll cater to our feelings, or that'll cater to our depression. But it's not very often that we listen to music that'll cater to our victories and that'll feed our victories. And so when I found out how strong and powerful music was and how it really did minister to me without me even knowing, or how it really did anchor me, it was in that time when I found out that God wanted a relationship with me. And I didn't know that that's what it took. And so when I found out he wanted a relationship, when he is music. And so when I found out he wanted a relationship, then me and music really had a deeper relationship. And that's how I was able to write from that place. I didn't know that I could write. I didn't really know I could write until I had encountered the presence of the Most High. And so then he took me on this journey of just writing music, writing my own music, telling my testimony through my music. I have a song that's entitled We Want You. And it says, I want God to consume me more than my life already does, because I'm tired of singing my same old shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And that's what my life was all about. And so with him being able to help me make sense of it, now I'm able to go, and to God be the glory. I go to bars now, and we do gospel concerts in bars. Like, we did a gospel concert at the Rumba Notes. And so, and even with this testimony, with the tour that's getting ready to take place. Yeah. So that's how. So to answer your question, that was the...
You never know how it's all going to come together.
You never know.
And I mean, that's the beauty of divine design. You know, I'm in my later years in life, and people will say, girl, you're still so young. And I receive it. But, you know, there's something really special about understanding how there's this web, this interconnectedness of all of us who are out here, who are just little pieces of Most High, right? We're all just little pieces of the same source. Absolutely. And how we connect and build and, you know, grow with one another in this divine design is always blowing my mind. So now you got this tour coming up. Yes. People are going to be able to experience it. Yes. You know, give us a glimpse of what folks are going to experience out on this tour. People are going to be able to experience it. Yes. You know, give us a glimpse of what folks are going to experience out on this tour.
It's going to be real. It's going to be radical. It's going to be very transparent. It's going to be, I believe, life-changing, because what comes from the heart reaches the heart. And I don't want to be out there faking the funk, acting like I'm somebody that I'm not. So what they're going to see is a mighty move of God. They're going to see souls being delivered. They're going to see minds changing. I believe they're going to see people being healed. Wow. Even because that's that powerful. I truly believe I believe words created this whole entire universe. So I believe that the words that we say, it either brings life or it brings death. There's no in between, and I'm coming to bring life. So they should expect that. All right, so people, of course, it's D Weems coming at you. Y'all can look us up on our Instagram. It's _encounter_, or you can look us up on our Facebook page. Look at my name, Dominic Weems, DOMINICK, WEEM as in Mary, S as in Sam. Got y'all, it's coming.
Oh, D. Weems in the building. Thank you so much for coming and bringing your inspiring story. I'm here. The Day with Trey is always here. So when you got new music dropping, when you got other events popping, please don't forget to think of us and come here and update the audience and me with all the greatness you got going on. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, sis. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.